Hi everyone, and welcome back to Writing Guy. So, I've had a lot of questions asking about how I could pump out writing after writing, and somehow I don't feel burned out by writing a lot. So, in this episode of Fountain Pen Thoughts, we're going to be talking about one of the most, if not the best, thing that you can do to improve your writing, and that is reading. Yeah, something as simple as cracking open a book can actually make you a better writer. So now we all know the saying, great writers are great readers, but today we're going to explore step by step how you can read in a way that really feels your writing. And isn't about just reading more. It's about reading smartly, effectively, and you can apply what you read immediately. I'll be sharing practical and easy to follow tips that will help you write more often and you write better. So let's get into it. But before we get into the nitty gritty, I invite you to visit awritingguy.com. And since I'm doing this full time, any support from you would means the world to me. The web shop is running, and if you're not keen on getting items from awritingguy.com, please check out the writing instruments reviews, photos, articles. There are lots of things for you there. Check it out. And when this video goes live, there will be 5 gift codes for you guys to use right away. I hope that with these discount and gift codes you can use them more. Again, there will be 5 discount code in the description or in the pinned comments, and they can only be used once, so first come first serve. Check out the pinned comments, and if you're interested, please check them out. So now let's get back to the video. And why does reading help with writing? When you read, you expose yourself to different voices, styles, and perspective. It's like giving your brain a library of tools to draw from when you sit down to write. Think about it. When every single author you read teaches you something, whether it's one of their sentences, one of their pacing styles, or even just how to describe the color of the sky in a fresh way. The more you read, the more tools you gather, which ultimately makes writing feel less like pulling teeth and more like drawing from a well-stocked toolbox. But here's the kicker. You can't just read passively and hope your writing improves. You've got to do some legwork and approach reading with intention. So how do you read with a purpose? The goal isn't to just read more books, it's to make reading every single book counts. So the first thing that you're going to do is to read in your own genre. If you write fiction, read fiction. If you write nonfiction, dive into some nonfiction. If you're a student and you're writing an essay, read research paper and essays. This seems obvious, but it's critical. Reading within your genre helps you understand what works and what doesn't, especially for your specific audiences. You yourself act as a reader, and you're kinda proofing the author's writing and see if something irks you, something doesn't work, or something works well. You'll start to notice patterns, how dialogue flows, how stories build tension, how arguments are structured, and what kind of vocabulary would fit per situation. That being said, don't box yourself in. Reading outside of your genre can expose you to techniques and ideas you wouldn't encounter otherwise. Maybe in a nonfiction book gives you a new way to develop character, or a poetry collection teaches you about world economy. The second thing is to take notes as you read. I'm not saying that you need a pen and paper and annotate every single pages, every single sentences like it's an English class assignment, but jotting down quick notes or pick up sentences that resonates with you on what stands out can make a huge difference. Maybe it's a sentence that resonates with you, maybe a few proses that you want to try out in your own writing, or a character detail that you love. By writing it down, you're actually absorbing the information and have a reference later when you're stuck on your own work. You can do it digitally, or if you're a long-time viewer of this channel, I like to get it down and dirty with a fountain pen and a notebook. The third thing is to read to learn the craft. Reading isn't just about inspiration, it's about education. Every book you pick up is a masterclass in writing, and here are a few ways to treat reading as a craft lesson. When something in a book grabs your attention, pause and ask yourself why it works. Is it a killer opening line, an often emotionally charged dialogue, a plot twist that left you breathless? By figuring out what exactly draws you in, you're learning how to replicate those elements in your own work. One way to do it is to read a section once for enjoyment, then go back and break it down analytically. How did the author create tension in that scene? How did they build up to that emotional moment? What is the context? You can even take it a step further by copying it out, passages by hand. This can help you internalize the rhythm and the style of writing. On the flip side, you can also learn from reading something you don't like. When you come across a clunky sentence or a character that falls flat, take a moment to reflect on it. Why it didn't work for you. Was it too slow? Were the description too vague? Were there too much telling than showing? Understanding what doesn't resonate with you is just as valuable as learning what does. Now, applying what you read to your writing is probably the most crucial step and the most hands down ways for you to measure how well you have read. And the number one thing that I always do is to write after you read. Most of my writing happens after I read like 10, maybe 20 sentences to get my engine warm and running. If you sit down and read for 15 minutes right before you start a writing session, your mind will be primed for the style that you're trying to write. It's almost like a warm-up exercise. You'll be in writing mode already, making it easier to get into the flow. Sometimes try to find your own voice. It helps to try someone else's for a bit. If you really loved the style of a book you just read, write a short piece in a similar voice. This isn't copying, this is practicing. As you try out different styles, you will start to figure out what feels natural to you and what doesn't. Don't worry about making it perfect. The goal here is to experiment and stretch your writing muscle. It's kind of similar in a way that there are many different ways of running, but a soccer player exercise running differently than a marathon, or even more so than a sprinter. So that applies to reading and writing as well. And to wrap things up, reading is one of the most powerful tools you can use to fuel your writing. But it's not just about quantity, it's about quality and intention. When you read with purpose, take notes, analyze what works and what doesn't, and actively apply those lessons to your own writing, you'll see improvements faster than you think. So the next time you pick up a book, remember, you're not just a reader, you're a writer in training. Thanks for listening to the Fountain Pen Thoughts. And if you find these tips helpful, be sure to subscribe, like, and share the content. And again, there will be discount codes in the description and the pinned comments. First come, first serve. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.